No, don't do this to me. Is that better? I hope that's better. Canadian Family Life is here. Obviously, one of my guests in the chat, Jaden, is here. Stephanie, all that fluff and stuff. Kristen, hello, Kristen. I can hear myself in the background. Somebody needs to turn their device down, if you don't mind, please.
That's me.
And Annabelle is here. Who else have we got here? I think I've got everyone. My apologies if I don't have everyone. But as I was saying that you couldn't hear, in 2 weeks' time, Werner and myself will be off in America, and in about a month's time we will be in Canada, and I'm really excited because I've never been to Canada before, so I'm really looking forward to it. We've got some wonderful people from that country up to talk to us about all things Canada, and we are going to ask, is Canada really the nicest place with the nicest people on earth? So let me introduce to you Kevin and Tiffany.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
Nice
for being here. I really appreciate it. I've actually... Oh, no, it's okay. Nothing. It's all right. Yes, I'm absolutely thrilled to have the both of you here. Now, I'm going to get you to talk about your channels. I don't know if we're going to do age or beauty, but Tiffany, you can go first.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said I wasn't sure if we're going to do this in order of age or beauty, but I'll just let Tiffany go first.
Okay. Well, for anybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is Tiffany. I live in New Brunswick, Canada. With my family, I got my hubby, who is Chris, and then our two children, Bella and Alex. Bella is 12, and Alex will be 11 here soon. And we kind of sort of started this channel. We were security officers during the time, and our health took a turn for the worse, so we had to stop that. So I was looking at something to, fill the time, try my hand at. I was watching a bunch of other people do it, and I wanted to leave something for the kids, memories and everything, video memories. So I figured, why not start a YouTube channel? And so we did, and it's gone a lot farther than we were expecting it to, and we appreciate everybody's support and love. Like, we grew faster than we were expecting, and we just, have fun. We do family vlogs. I do a lot of cooking and all that sort of stuff. It's really hot right now, so getting outside is a little harder to do, but we just have fun with it, and it's just been amazing. We've met so many amazing people like Kevin and you all, and it's been an amazing journey, and we can't wait to see where everybody takes their channels.
Oh, that's amazing. Sounds wonderful. Yeah, Tiffany or Canadian Family Life are a new connection to me. We met in Tuber Chat. Thank you, Tuber Chat, for introducing us. And it started off with us swapping playlists to keep our watch hours up. Unfortunately, we met, and I'm in a sort of pivotal moment in my life when everything's just happening all at once, and I haven't actually been to channels as much as I'd like to be. Even my own close friends, I haven't done as much for them as I could, but that's all right. Once I settle down, things might change. But yeah, so that's how that happened. And yeah, so we'll go over to Kevin. Kevin's actually got 3 channels, so we'll get you to say hello and talk about and do what you do best.
Yeah. talk endlessly for 3 hours.
Yes.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. So, my name's Kevin K. You see me in the chat there. That's a personal channel that I started about 6 years ago. But a couple of years in, I was really overwhelmed by the generosity of so many creators that were willing to help each other. And what that inspired was the idea behind Tuber Chat, which is where Heather, Drew, Tiffany, that are all on the screen, had basically met through our channels. And it's really just a meeting place. And what we do is we just promote channels. It's not exactly reviews. That can be a confusing idea. But it's interesting as well when I hear Tiffany talk about her channel, Canadian Family Life, that story, that type of story, has come through a few different times. People start channels for any number of reasons. There's over 50 million channels on YouTube, and that's 50 million different reasons why people would start one. One of the common parts of a story, though, is to say, yeah, we're building memories for our family, or for those people who have distant relatives, meaning geographically distant. They will say, we want to give them an opportunity to see what the kids are doing, what the family's doing. Everybody can keep caught up with each other. So it's really cool. And then all the music that we use in our channel as background music, I happen to own, and that was deliberate. So we started a copyright-free music channel as well, and we're building that in the process. But thank you for letting me introduce these things.
Yep, that's fine. And we've got some new people in the chat. So, Drew, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, so I'm Drew from Drew's Adventures. I met Heather purely through both Tuber Chat and also as she came up as a suggestion. And it was funny because I thought that Heather had sold me a little lamp the week before at a event I went to here in Adelaide, and I was like, "Did you sell me the USB lamp?" I was like, "I'm sure it was you," and she wasn't. So it was just one of those things. But yeah, I met Heather, and then I met Werner through Heather, and then just been meeting so many awesome people through Heather and through Kevin, and Canadian Family Life, very recent as well that we've been talking. It's funny though, because Canadian Family Life, I do have one of my best friends, Jeffrey, that lives in Fredericton, New Brunswick. I think I've said that right, Fredericton. It's harder than some of the Australian names. and yeah, so Jeffrey works over there, and he's been to Australia twice. And I wanted to go during that time, but yeah, we're allowed to travel, and I worked at immigration, so I was at the time very, very, very full on with my job, and so I couldn't really get out of the rules myself, can't be a rule maker and a rule breaker, so yeah, so I stuck with it, and then I've been lucky to be on Tuber Chat a few times as well with Mike, and he'll throw your name out there, and there's some awesome people that have connected, and similar passions, similar adventures, and some very, very different. And like you said, there's so many people out there with ideas, with different perspectives on stuff, and you learn a lot, and I love learning. So yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you, Drew. Now Drew's, Kevin's and Tiffany's links will be dropped by Nightbot fairly regularly, so go and check them out and take the time to go have a look at their channels, maybe after the live stream might be.
For sure.
I'd gratefully appreciate it. Okay, so I don't have a plan of attack. This is just a coffee table type chat. If you're in my lounge room and we'd be talking about the holidays, and you'd be saying, "Oh, we must do this and you must do that, and this is a place to see, and this is what you can expect." So who would like to start? And I'm sure if the chat has any questions, put them in the chat. For sure, and we'll come up with some questions as we go as well.
I have a question for them, Heather, for Canadian Family Life, for Tiffany and for Mike. And that question is, with Canada, you guys have provinces, not states, right? And is there any reason for that, like, basically? Don't know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I feel like we might have learned about that in our grade school history, and I don't remember the political beginnings of why different countries would do one thing over the other. But I remember learning in high school that they imagine someday all of our provinces are going to be absorbed by the United States. So I've been waiting a lifetime to see whether that's going to happen. I'm not sure.
Waiting for the Southern invasion.
There are enough differences that Canada definitely is its own country, although we share so much similarity with our American counterparts.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And Kevin, which province are you in, if you don't mind me asking that?
So I'm in Ontario. I live in Niagara Falls, which is close to Niagara Falls, New York, on our side of the border, and I work in and around Toronto. So I split my time.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Kristen
So you're both
says that.
Eastern.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Kristen says that provinces are. It comes from the British.
Right.
Oh, it
right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and that does make sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, here you go. Fluff just said, all that fluff and stuff said, question, what's the French have to do with Canada? So, do you guys know, like, how Quebec was, how that kind of works in?
Again, that's more history. And Tiffany, I'm not sure if you know any of it. I certainly have likely forgotten 99% of what I might have known. But if I remember right, originally the area would have been called New France. In Canada, like most other countries, started very small in little pockets, grew, absorbed, different parts of each other, and became in 1867 officially Canada. It's the only real fact I can say for sure. But as far as I understand, it was called New France. And French has always been an official language in Canada. So we don't just have one. It's not like French is a second language to us. It is, they are equally our national languages, if I understand right. And we every Canadian citizen learns French in school as we're growing up. You have the option to discontinue after about ninth grade. And some people continue, and they have programs where if you're in a predominantly English-speaking area, you can choose more French in your curriculum so that you can be closer to bilingual as you enter adulthood, let's just say.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes.
And the other interesting fact is here where we are, I just released a video about Fort Beauséjour. I'm probably saying that wrong because I cannot pronounce it.
Yep.
But it was settled by the French first, and then the British invaded and took it over. So if you look into it, technically, like Kevin says, we do have both languages are official here, but New Brunswick is the only official bilingual province in Canada.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Interesting. I didn't know
That is
that.
interesting, yeah.
So-
A lot of people don't know that, but because we've got the Acadian French here and everything like that as well, we are the official bilingual province in Canada.
Right, and whereas Quebec is almost all French, isn't it? Quebecois? Yeah. Is that how you say it? Quebecois?
Quebecois.
Yeah, Quebecois. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so have you got a question, Heather?
Oh, thank you. I'm going to get a word in edgewise. Bloody hell. Jeez, I might as well just sit here and drink my coffee. I did have a question, but I can't remember what it was. It doesn't matter. But anyway.
Well, you were wondering in the title of the video if Canada's the nicest place on earth.
Yes.
So, in tradition, the way that the stream's going, let's ask Tiffany to start, and then I'll fill in with what she, what I can add or compliment with. But Tiffany, what do you have to say when somebody asks you that? Is Canada as nice as everybody thinks it is?
Depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I say it depends on where you are because I have run into places where people aren't so friendly.
Yeah.
And then I've run into places where people are so friendly, they'll give you the shirt off your back, their back, they'll walk you 10 miles on their back if they have to. Like, it's kind of a different perspective, but I would say 99.9% of the time you're going to find that everybody is very friendly.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that because
Very
everyone's
welcoming.
so well taken by the government?
It seems to be. Tiffany's absolutely right. I think that some of different ideas, whether people are nice or not, might come down to even. I'll defend everybody by saying busyness. When you're in Toronto or a major metropolitan area, people don't have the same friendliness that they do in a small town. But I imagine that that's the same globally. So it's interesting. The reason why I say this is because I split my time between Toronto, where I grew up, and Niagara Falls, where I've lived for 7 years now. When I'm in Niagara Falls, it's still a big enough city, but people say, have a nice day when you leave the grocery store. And you might walk outside and see a couple of guys having a conversation in a parking lot that don't know each other, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in
Oh,
Toronto,
wow.
it seems to be more, it's business. Like, you know, people are just doing what they're doing, they're avoiding each other, and they're
Yeah.
just, you know, it's a busier time. But that's
Yeah.
a guess. But overall, myself personally, I'd have to say Canadians are a lot of this. A lot of the things we hear stereotypes seem to hold true. A lot of
Yeah.
people say sorry when they interrupt each other and things like that. And we have an interesting thing called the Canadian standoff, where you're about to walk, especially into a Tim Hortons restaurant, but it could be anywhere, and everybody wants to hold the door open for everybody. And you can find yourself in a situation holding the door for 5, 6, 7 families at a time.
No one's going,
And
yeah.
sometimes you'll find a couple of people offering to hold the door for each other, so nobody moves. We're all just staring at each
Staring
other.
at
That's a
each
real
other.
thing. It happens all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
They on that, I used to say that because I would always hold the door open, and like Kevin says, you'd be holding it open for everybody.
Yeah.
I always say that I was born a great doorstop
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
because I'm always holding the door open.
So
Yeah.
note to self, quickly rush in the door and don't hold it open. Otherwise I won't get anywhere. You wouldn't want to be in a hurry if you're doing that.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's the population of, what is the capital of, is Toronto the capital of Canada? No.
Ottawa, actually.
Ottawa.
Ottawa
About 4
is.
hours to the northeast on the
Yeah.
Quebec border.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
Yeah. And you know, I relate to what you were both saying about big cities versus other cities or small towns, because I think that's like here, isn't it, Heather? Like if you go to Melbourne or Sydney and you walk through the main streets of Melbourne and Sydney, our two biggest cities,
Yeah.
you know, people are going to be like, oh, you know, we're on our way to our work, and you know, whereas you come to a town like Adelaide, like a city like our city where Heather and I are, and we're only a city of about 1.5 million people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But you will find that people generally will try and help you a bit more if you know, and try and be a bit more friendly. But it's hit and miss. So yeah, it's hit and miss, definitely.
I try to remind myself, like, traffic is something that bothers me as much as anybody. And our Toronto traffic has become just as bad as you see in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, everywhere else, right? But I try to remind myself, everybody who's driving around, rushing, and maybe not taking a moment to just be polite or anything else, I'm sure their family loves them. I'm sure their nieces, nephews, cousins, brothers, and everything else think they're salt of the earth. It's just we're busy. And that's for everybody. You know what I mean? We get older and older, and we get busier and busier and more responsibility. And I think that's part of it. But there's tons of politeness. So, like, even on the highway, when I complain and whine about traffic, you still have enough people that will let each other in front of them and things like that. I don't know if that's any different here than it is in any other major city. I've been lucky to spend some time in the States, but I haven't had any trouble that I remember with large traffic down there to compare to. But it's just an example, right? People become different when they're in a car for some reason. And when there's heavy traffic, all of a sudden we become very, very different, if you want to say. But there's still, you know, the politeness out there a lot of the time.
Yes.
Australians won't let you in.
No, we're terrible drivers, actually. We're really nasty. So what's your favourite thing about Canada? What? If you would have to say, what's your favourite thing about living there, or?
What do you think, Tiffany?
The food.
I think it'd be like a toss-up between maple syrup and I'd have to say the beautiful views and everything. Like, there's a lot of beautiful countryside here. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Ontario or here or out west. Yes, there are a lot of big cities, but lots of beauty. There is a lot of beautiful areas around and lots to explore.
Yeah, that's what I love. Yeah. And
Absolutely. Now, Mike and Rihanna's Adventures are saying Oshawa, Ontario is capital of Canada, and Toronto is the capital of Ontario. Okay, I'm with you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's a bit like us having Canberra and the ACT is actually the capital territory around Canberra. And then we have New South Wales, which envelops all of ACT, because a lot of people think Sydney or Melbourne is our capital, and neither are.
Right. Assumptions come just from because the cities are so big, right? You know, and so predominant. Let's just say.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yes,
got a
I
couple
was.
of fellow Canadians in the house. Pete's in there, of course. He's been here from the beginning. Kristen, my love, is in the chat. Mike and Rihanna's adventures. Forgive me if I'm missing anybody, but yeah.
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 Well, welcome in everyone, and thank you for joining us. We are talking
Yeah,
all
thank
things
you.
Canada. It's lovely
Yeah.
to see you all. Yeah, so doing my research, Canada is such a pretty spot. It really
Yeah.
is absolutely beautiful. It is as lovely and picturesque in person as it is on screen.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Even in the major cities, I think you'll find when you're here that things are very clean in most places, right?
Yeah.
And our landscaping, and once you get outside the cities, you see all kinds of beautiful areas. So we're lucky enough to have a little bit of mountain. We have enough water surrounding all kinds of places, especially along the southern border and in the north. And I haven't been to many other provinces. I believe I've actually only been as far as Quebec when it comes to Canada. But one of the things that brings Canada its beauty is that we have all 4 seasons here. So in the autumn, then we will have our trees change color, right? So this is where Canada's colors come through: yellow, red, orange. And that comes a lot of the time from our maple trees, which is the leaf that's on our Canadian flag, which I should have thought to have in front of me here.
That's all right. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you a funny story, and Heather, you'll love this too. When Jeffrey came over on his first visit, there you go. There's the little. That's cute.
It's just my sticker.
Oh,
That's so cute.
that's cute. I love it. I love it.
It was funny, right? When Jeffrey came over here, I got him to go to a pancake, like we call it the pancake kitchen. You know that one, Heather, that I'm
Yes,
talking about?
yes.
And anyway, they had maple syrup, right? We tipped it on the pancakes, and Jeffrey took a couple of bites, and he goes, maple syrup. He goes, this is like water. I said, yeah, right, sugar water, yeah. Australians can't do maple syrup, right?
We do golden syrup over here. We don't do maple syrup.
No, we don't really, do we, Heather? It's hard to find genuine, proper maple syrup in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I must
Well,
admit,
you're here.
Yeah, exactly. That's
yes.
right. Yeah.
But I must admit,
I'm
I
gonna
do.
get something.
Yes, I must admit, I do prefer golden syrup over maple syrup anyway. So
I may not have heard of golden syrup ever. I might have to see what you're talking about.
yeah, it's. I do believe it's Australian. I know that it is available. When I did a cooking show with Gloria, I taught her how to make golden syrup dumplings. She was going to use maple syrup, but she actually found a store that delivered golden syrup. So it must be an Australian thing. Maybe English. I don't know if you get golden syrup in England as well. But yeah. So there you go. But yeah, I'm excited to come over. So what can I expect when I arrive?
Well, I know you happen to be coming to Toronto first, if I understand, right?
Yes, we're going to Toronto, and I think we're. What's that? Oh.
It's okay, but it's probably nothing like the real thing. But it says, specially selected pure maple syrup from the forests of Quebec, Canada. But I don't know. It says
might be.
Canada. Yeah. Just there.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Sugar.
So you're coming to Toronto first, and
Yes.
expecting to take a short visit to Niagara Falls during your visit. Is that right?
Yes, hopefully 1 or 2 visits while we're there.
So if I understand right from where you're planning to stay, it's in the northeast side of Toronto. Now, of course, the city of Toronto has everything you'd expect. There are art galleries, there's museums. We have an enormous science center that's very popular. And because it's going to be right in the heat of summer, you've got a million outdoor activities. We have festivals every weekend all over the city. There's
Oh,
everything from music to performances, every kind of talent you can imagine.
wow.
And then you have the option, because Toronto's now such a large city, that you could even choose where you want to experience those kinds of things. I'm talking even parks. We've got casinos on what feels like every corner now.
Really?
Literally, that
Wow.
started in my lifetime, so it's not been that long. But they're all brand new. They're all beautiful, and things like that. There's theaters. There's everything you can basically imagine, and everything available 24 hours a day, right?
Wow. Yep. Yep. Oh, that
I was actually
sounds
going to suggest,
amazing.
since you're going to be in the Toronto area, if you go an hour south to St. Jacobs, they have an amazing farmers market there.
Do they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
St. Jacobs Farmers Market. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Saturdays. It's a great place to go if you have a chance to go. I say, look into it and see if you can go check it out while you're there, because I grew up in Kitchener Waterloo, which is just outside of, or just around the St. Jacob. It's a great place to go and have some fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
All the
sounds
different
good.
vendors and the farmers and everything like that. A lot of Mennonites sell stuff there too. So
Mennonites,
you
is
get
that?
really interesting stuff.
Wow.
Mennonites are like a bit like I don't want to label
The
it
Quakers
like a
or
sect
something like that?
cult, or not quite. I don't know.
They're kind of like the Amish.
Amish,
Oh,
yes,
the Amish,
yes.
yeah, there you
That's
go.
what I was thinking of, yeah. Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
awesome. Because what I like, as much as I like to visit places and see things, like touristy type thing, I like to get out in suburbia as well and just see what it's like. Just
See the real, yeah,
outside the big
beyond
cities and
tourist
stuff.
trail. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
which
have a
is
lot
great.
of small towns in the greater Toronto area
Yeah.
that have been well kept. So, as an example, it's a little bit of a stretch, but since you're going to be in Niagara Falls, half an hour north, where our friends Hope Bus actually live from
Oh,
that
yes,
channel,
I know the
they
Hope
live
Bus,
in a
yeah.
town called Niagara on the Lake, and there's very strict rules, as far as I understand, about building, renovating, and things like that, because they want to keep the history of that town. And a lot of the buildings, even residential, have a plaque with a number that tells you the year that it was built.
Wow.
And a lot of this stuff is getting on like well beyond 100 years now, right? So you
Yeah.
get an idea of the history. But there's all these quaint little towns with all kinds of boutique shops. There's tons to eat and see and do. And, like I said, almost everything seems to be surrounded by water. But there's lots of that as well. You know what I mean? You get like within only a few minutes of Toronto,
Oh,
you can
that's...
experience all of the history that comes through our country as well. And we've got other places like Pioneer Village is an idea. There's many of them, but there's an official Pioneer Village right inside Toronto where they talk about the history of Canada, the settlers, and things like that as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Fluffy wants to know, what is Canada's famous or favourite beer?
I'm not sure about favorite. We have one called Canadian. One of our
Canadian
biggest
Club.
companies called Molson made beer called Canadian. It's been there our whole life, and I'm assuming that that's a monstrously popular beer. And I would imagine if somebody was traveling here that had not been here, they'd want to try that, because the name, more than anything else, says, well, this must be what Canada is. I'm not sure if that's true, but...
Now, is that ice hockey? Mike and Rhiannon's Adventures are saying that Canada is famous for hockey. Is that ice hockey?
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely,
field hockey?
yeah. So,
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, the NHL, where we have the Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto Maple Leafs, for instance, and things like that. I believe our national sport is curling, which also happens on ice, by the way.
I've heard of that.
Ice hockey is just monstrous here.
Yeah.
So if I was to guess, I'd say it's the most popular sport, but that might be debatable. Everybody can fight in the chat over whether I'm right or not about that, but hockey has always been very huge here because we have our own Canadian rivalries, right? When we get into things like the NHL, even the Canadian cities want to see the competition between each other. But for instance, like Toronto, as far as I understand, at last check was number 2 in the league for sales of merchandise.
Wow.
So you will likely see almost more Toronto Maple Leaf shirts than anything else when it comes to hockey. But we also have a spectacularly successful basketball team now. When the Toronto Raptors were added into the NBA, they just took a championship recently as well. Not that I know anything about it, but yeah, all the major sports, even including soccer now, has been included. We have stadiums for almost each now.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm just checking up on the chat and trying to listen and concentrate at the same time. There was something else that somebody picked up, but I think I've lost it now, but doesn't matter. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. So those people waving the flags with the Pacers painted, they'd probably be hockey fans, would they? More than likely.
Oh, if it's
in
blue,
my
yeah,
intro.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about basketball or football or soccer? Does that come into play at all?
They're all here.
Yeah, they're all there.
In Canada, we don't participate in the NFL, which is the American Football League. Football meaning as in not soccer. we call football soccer here, and then we also have a soccer team now. Although I haven't followed that at all. That's the sport I probably know the least about, although I'm not a heavy sports guy anyway. But we have our own league in Canada that is professional football, and my understanding is the size of the stadium and the field is even larger, or a different size than it is in the United States. So they do these interesting things. I think they have, if I remember right, Buffalo's team comes up. Buffalo Bills come up here.
Oh, yeah.
Once or twice a year. And I could be very wrong about how many times it is, but I believe they come up as a special promotion for the NHL. But we have every sport that I imagine is probably common globally.
Ah, fantastic. Yes. Have you seen any bears? You've got some gorgeous mountains and...
Now you make me want to lie and say, yeah, you should have seen what I did to him. But yeah,
yes.
no. I haven't had the pleasure. No.
No, Drew's going up to the mountain.
We've had bear warnings here, but we've never actually seen them either, so...
Oh,
We do have world-class zoos, of course, and in our zoos, we even have a safari here that's got a lot of stuff where you can see a lot of these types of things. But I've not been lucky enough to see much of that out in the wild. I'm a city guy. I'm surrounded by steel, glass, and concrete all the time.
Yeah. Because like sometimes on the news over here, like occasionally it'll come up where a bear gets into a dumpster, and they're really clever. Like they'll lift the dumpster door open, and they'll get right in, and then they'll close the door on their way out.
Wow.
So that's a clever little bear. Most of the black bears, I think, do that. I think, yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's hilarious. Oh, excuse me. And you've got moose.
Yeah, moose.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, moose sightings are big here.
Yeah, and is it true that with moose, like, you got to be real careful? Because Jeffrey was saying they're not very friendly sometimes.
I, out of just the size of them, would try to avoid them no matter what.
I've had some close encounters with moose, but they're not as bad as you would think, especially when they're young. They're more curious. It's when they're older and they're protecting their young that you have to worry about.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because people think that, like, in Australia, the kangaroos run down the street, you know. Everyone rides to school and to work on a kangaroo, you know. We've all got that as pets. Do you get the same way with that, with the bears and the moose and the...
Yeah, definitely true, Heather. I mean, in all honesty, though, in my area, Heather, I have had roos in the street, and I have had koalas in my backyard. So.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yes. Koalas are a big thing in the suburbs. And when we were all in lockdown because of that dreadful thing that happened, there were cases of wildlife just roaming the streets of Adelaide.
There were, yeah.
Because there was nobody around and they just had free roam of everything. So it wouldn't take long for wildlife to just reclaim everything, I reckon, if anything happened.
Yeah, I think you're right, Heather. I remember there was a video of a kangaroo going down like King William Street or something like that in Adelaide. Yeah, that was normally a really like busy city CBD street, and then you've just got this little. I'm from.
Absolutely. Oh dear, let's talk about food. Fluffy brought it up, so we may as well talk about food.
Yeah, food.
And Kristen has already actually answered the question in the chat.
Yeah.
Well, I see them talking in the chat, but Tiffany says she just did a video with Canadian poutine, right?
Oh.
I've never tried.
Yeah, on my channel, if you go under my cook with me videos, I've got a video on making a Canadian poutine. Though I didn't have cheese curds at the time, I used shredded cheese, but traditionally it's made with cheese curds. So.
Oh wow!
That is a good staple. If you're gonna come, you gotta try the poutine.
We should try doing it, Heather, together for a video. See if we can replicate it.
Yes, well, that's one thing I do want to try is... So what is cheese curd? Well, hang on. I swear I've got ADHD. Shiny thing. So the one thing I do want to try is poutine. And we do actually have a shop close by that sells it. And I thought about buying it and doing a mukbangy type thing on my channel. But I thought it's probably not real poutine. So I'm going to wait and eat poutine while I'm in Canada and try the real stuff.
And then
and maybe bring it back with me. So what's actually cheese curds? What is it?
I'll let Tiffany answer because I would butcher that.
And while you're answering, I'm going to see if I can find that particular video, and I'm going to post that video in the chat. If I don't miss something.
I don't know exactly the full extent of what cheese curds is, but when you're making cheese, you know how it ferments and everything like that, and you get the curdles on top?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is they just strain it through some cheesecloth, and that's what you're getting is the little cheese curdly stuff on the top of the milk.
Yeah.
And it's... as Annabelle says, unaged cheese. So it's not aged or anything. It's just straight up the curds that are on top of your milk and stuff when you're creating cheese.
Oh, okay.
That's what they press into make the cheese and stuff. Once they get that the solid separated, they press it into the cheese that you see in stores and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Cheese curds are just the curdled version. So they're really good though.
Oh wow!
Is
it
they have
strong?
a lot of flavor in them, I find. So.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a strong cheese or?
Yeah.
It can be depending on how strong the milk is.
Yeah.
And whatever they're using is and what kind of, because sometimes you can get the mozzarella curds. I've seen cheddar curds. So,
wow.
Yeah. Someone just said. They squeak on your teeth, Chris.
They do. He is right. They do. No, if you don't eat them in the poutine, if you eat them raw, they squeak on your teeth.
Yeah, I reckon I've had similar with. I reckon I had an Italian cheese over here. I can't think of the name of it, but it's a similar thing. It's like little balls of cheese, and they sort of squeak when you bite. It's so weird, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Well, we have in Elmira, actually, there in Ontario, we have a maple syrup festival. There's a maple syrup festival there every year. And we used to get cheese curds there while we were there. And it was really, really cold the one year. And we got the cheese curds and we got hot chocolate. And one of mine fell in the hot chocolate. So I pulled it out and I ate it.
Oh.
You would be surprised how good that actually is, dipping a cheese curd into hot chocolate.
Oh, it sounds vile.
It does. I know it does sound vile, but you should really. It wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty good.
Oh,
I give it a go.
Well, I will give it a go too.
Once, right?
Yes.
I'm not gonna look by my son just popped out of his room.
Did he? Oh, that's all right.
G'day.
Hello, son.
Hey, mate.
I can't.
We have Kevin over here.
Hello.
Down there. And Heather over there. Hey, everybody.
He's gone shy.
And
That's
this
all
is
right.
Alex.
Yeah, cool. Alex, can you tell us what the capital of Australia is?
Oh, cool, Kristen. I didn't know you grew up that far from there.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if you guys don't mind, Drew and Heather, since you're planning to come here, you must have done a little more research than we've talked about. What do you have planned that you expect to do already?
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. Okay, so what we've done, there's two content creators from Canada who are in the same lines as us. They're urban explorers. Oh, ta-da, Kevin. Thanks for coming. Baby, when the lights go out. La, da, 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 da. Kristen must be there. Oops, that's a bit naughty, Heather. Stop it. There's two content creators. We've got
There we go.
Brandon Abandon and Uncapped Films.
Hopefully Heather will be back in a second too.
Yeah. And we're planning on meeting up with them and doing some urban exploring. But I really wanted to meet up with Kevin and Kristen and anybody else, Scratch and Pete, or anybody else who lives in the local area that we can catch up and you know, maybe do a live stream or go out for dinner or
cool.
Find ourselves a big keg bottle and fall down Niagara Falls in a big beer keg or something like that, you know. But I don't know a lot. I'm not a huge planner. I plan where we're going and where we're staying. I don't want to be homeless. I've been homeless in the US before, and it's not nice. Just for the day. Just for the day. I wasn't. It's not like I couldn't afford my hotel room or anything like that.
Like this right in your face, and they're like, "Are you okay?"
Yes.
Like,
We were having a nap with our carry-on luggage. And but apart from that, that's all I sort of plan. I just do a little bit of research here and there and see what the day might bring. Sometimes I like to just walk out the hotel room and just start walking and go wherever my nose takes me. You know, so Drew can probably tell you, or will probably tell you, that I'm extremely anal when it comes to planning our trip. But I'm flexible.
Got all of the planning done, and it's just to fill in like where we're going to go, what we're going to find, and do.
But when it comes to doing actual things, I sort of wing it a bit. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. We'll be looking forward to having you here, and luckily, like, you know, Kristen will have to do what she can. I'm not sure who else you have like set to meet up with, but because I split my time between Toronto and Niagara, I will likely be able to meet up in a couple of different places, hopefully.
Oh, okay.
I love to eat. I don't miss many meals. So whenever you're doing that kind of thing, I'll be happy to tag along. But we've got, like I said, there's so much to do. Not that I would want to restrict an entire day of your vacation into a theme park if it's not something you normally would want to do.
No, actually that would be good. That would be wonderful. Yes.
Here's a question for you both. How far and what would be the best way for me to travel from Fredericton, New Brunswick down to Toronto? Like, is there a train? Is there should I do a flight? Should I taxi? I don't know.
Tiffany may know better than me about flights, because
you can probably get a flight out of Moncton. I'm not sure if you can out of Fredericton. But if you want a more scenic and not so, you know, if you don't want the hustle bustle of flight or whatever, you want more scenic, there are trains that go between here and Toronto. Cool. You would just have to do a I think it's a layover transfer in Montreal. I think where it is. I have a friend,
congratulations.
Actually, a neighbor. He works for Via Rail, which is the railway here, and he does the Halifax to Montreal run all the time. So I know that there is a train that you can do. So I don't know if the buses run there anymore. We don't have Greyhound here anymore, and I don't know if Coach still goes past the border into that.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose and you could do it, I would say take a couple of days and go
The train.
by train, because it'll take you about a couple of days by train.
Okay.
And by plane, it's about 45 minutes to an hour, 2 hour, like so somewhere between that time. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've actually flown.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, cool.
So flown from here to Ontario. So, but if you had the chance, I'd say take the train because it's more scenic. It's beautiful. You get a great experience from it.
Yeah.
And you can get some really great travel, vlogs and stuff from it. So.
Sure.
Yes.
And then, like I said, with the layover in Montreal, you get a short period of time in Quebec.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
While you're waiting for the next train to go on to Toronto. So.
I mean, I have got my international driver's license, but I'm not sure about whether or not those rides are easy to drive. I mean, we drive on the left, the wrong side of the road, so, so I'm not sure how I'll go with that.
Well, let me if you're gonna drive, Drew, let me know so I can stay off the roads, okay?
Yes.
A blog from the car. He's an Australian driving on the other side of the road. Here we go.
I was just thinking, I mean, if you're gonna come visit us, because I know you're coming down to Moncton, I'm like, if you come any further, like come down to us where we are.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could just see it. I'm walking to the mailbox, and all of a sudden, I see this car coming at me on the wrong side of the road. Oh, there's Drew's coming.
That's right, exactly. And Jeffrey will be like, no, that's
Yeah, actually, the more I hear about Canada, the more disappointed I am, because originally we were going to spend a week and a half here. But something happened and we had to drop it back to a week or 6 days. And I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm thinking next time we might spend maybe half our time in the US and the other half in Canada. Or even go to England or something like that. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I'm
lucky that I get to have a bit more time because I'm going to Alberta, Edmonton. And I go up to Banff and Jasper, and that's where I'm hoping I might see a bear, like a wild bear.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, and a moose and a beaver. You guys have beavers. And I'd really like to see a beaver den. I know apparently they're hard to see, but see over in Australia, right? This is slightly politically incorrect or whatever, but a beaver means something different, right? So I want to see the cute little animals with the big fat tails and that go under the water. So yeah, there's an Aussie thing about beavers, is there, Heather?
Yes, there is, but we won't go there. We've got to behave.
When we get Drew here, we'll have to take him to a place that we have called Beaver Tails. And I don't know if they have that. Tiffany, do you have that as well?
Beaver Tails?
Yeah, we have Beaver Tails out here. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
A special dessert place, and it's something we have it in Niagara. It's in the theme parks. Once in a while, you'll find this in touristy areas. But all it is a pastry that's meant to look like a beaver tail. And they'll put anything you want on it, from chocolate, peanut butter, to syrup, to candies, and all kinds of goodness.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell us about Wonderland.
Have you been, Tiffany? Have you ever had the chance?
Yes, I went when I was younger, and then I went when I was a teenager. So I haven't been since. Like, I'm 40 years old now, so I haven't been since I was 16. But I think it was nice.
I was lucky enough to work there, but that's 100 years ago. And it's a wonderful job, in my opinion, for somebody who's, let's say, a young adult, right? If you're coming out of high school and want to do just the summer thing or whatever, it's incredible because you meet a million people from all over the world, of course. And you can really have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Is it like a Disneyland or?
A miniature version, as far as I understand, and everything's a little bit different. So you'll have like characters in costumes walking around. There's little theaters with performances, a lot of thrill rides. We have huge roller coasters, lots and lots of them, for instance, and tons to eat. Tim Hortons is right inside there. Our biggest pizza franchise, which is Canadian, also is in there, and there's independent stuff, there's touristy things to see and buy, and they got all kinds of performances. Wonderland is known for the mountain in the logo. When people think about, like, if you've ever looked it up to see Canada's Wonderland, you see this mountain
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's got a huge waterfall on it, which is it's mesmerizing. You can stand there and just stare at it. But they got high divers that flip and do all their things down the waterfall and everything else. There's always something happening there.
Yeah.
So within any half hour, an hour, there's a show starting, and it's really big. It's almost like something that you have to plan a long day and a lot of steps for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
There you go,
wow.
right there, yeah. Look
Wow.
at the size of the roller coaster, right?
Oh, that looks
That's not like an aerial
wonderful.
shot of it, so.
I reckon we need to. I reckon Kristen's right. We need a Wonderland meetup.
Yeah.
I love water parks as well.
Yeah.
There was one thing I was
Yeah.
kind of looking forward to in Florida. I don't know if it's going to happen, but Florida has like a 50 slide water park
Right.
Really?
that I
Yeah.
really, really want to go to. I don't know if we'll be able to make it now.
So the interesting thing about you saying that is that Wonderland has a water park
Does it?
inside
Oh.
the theme park.
I'll bring my bathers, Kristen. If you
Yeah.
bring yours, and we'll go swimming together. We'll do synchronized swimming.
There you go.
And by the way, bathers over here means bathing costume or bathing suit.
Yes.
So you're not thinking that we're bringing a heap of people just to bathe.
Bathers.
And if you guys haven't, like, I'm not sure if Canada's Wonderland still has it, but if they have something called the drop zone, you gotta do it.
I've done one of those in the Gold Coast, and you hop on like a platform and it drops. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, when you're sitting on it, and it goes all the way up, and then you can see all like the Toronto. It's so beautiful, and then like drop, and it's like exhilarating. Like,
There's only one way I will do that. If I get $50,000 in super chats, during my trip to Canada.
That's right.
oh no, so we used to have it. Yeah, the drop zone is. That was when I went as a teenager. That was the year that they introduced the drop zone.
Right.
And when we got there, we literally ran to the drop zone because we wanted to be one of the first people that day on it. And we managed to get there in enough time. And I'm not very big on heights myself. I don't like. It's gonna sound silly, but I'm not very big on roller coasters either. But with the drop zone, I was all there. It was a beautiful view, and the drop only lasts for a few moments, and then you're back on the ground again, and it's amazing. So it was very exhilarating.
Oh, I'm getting excited. I really, really am. I'm like, I can't wait now.
And
Have you planned to see a couple of the really pardon me, Drew. Have you planned to see a couple of the really touristy things like the CN Tower?
No. Well, I mean, we
Toronto,
can,
that's
but
the one with the little disc.
yes.
Similar to the Space Needle and a couple other places, right? So that's just a touristy thing to do, but it does give you a spectacular view. And very similar to the CN Tower in Toronto, there's a restaurant upstairs. I haven't been there in a long time, so price would escape me right now. Used to be about $200. That was probably 10 years ago or longer. In Niagara Falls, there's a similar one, not quite as high, but still same idea. And these restaurants rotate around that upper area, right? So the idea is you get to see the view all the way around. So Niagara Falls, of course, is spectacular, but Toronto also happens to be as spectacular, right? Or in a different way. But these are something like that I would consider if it's a possibility, because Kristen and I have been to the Skyline Tower in Niagara Falls a couple of times. I think she's been to Toronto as well, but I happen to have been to that one. But that's an experience in itself. Because it's really unique, right? Not every major city has something like that. But that's an idea. I mean, you can imagine every type of food you can imagine in the world. Toronto, I think, is known as one of the most multicultural cities on the planet, if not the most. So there's literally everything at your fingertips when you're here when it comes to eating, snacking, and everything else.
Yeah, yum.
Yeah, that's amazing. Our favourite Irish couple has found an amazing Guinness in Toronto. So there you go.
Cool.
And Mike and Rihanna's adventures. So if you go to Edmonton, you'll have to check out the West Edmonton Mall.
Yeah, I know we are going there. Pamela is one of Jeffrey's best friends, and she used to live in. I think she lived in Moncton New Brunswick, I think. Yeah, she didn't like it, I don't think, so she'll take the same, yeah. And, yeah, she said she's going to take me to the West Edmonton Mall, which is Canada's biggest mall, I think. Is that right? By square...
Apparently.
Yeah,
Yep.
square feet, whatever, yeah. Yeah. Do you guys use meters or feet over there?
When we're doing construction and things like that, if you're building something for your house, you tend to talk in inches.
Right.
But when we do everything else, it's kilometers, meters, centimeters. When you're drinking, it's liters instead of quarts and things like this. You'll find that a few things it's slightly different. Our milk, a liter of milk is smaller than a quart of milk and things like that. But pure metric system. Yeah. Unless we're building something.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, my dad was the same way. He did everything in inches and feet. And...
My dad Heather still talks about how many inches of rain is a millimeter, and I'm like, Dad,
Hello, Peter. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. I hope you're well.
Yeah. Now, I've heard something really cool, Heather, which you might like as well.
Yeah.
I've heard that Canada has amazing ice wines, right? Is that correct, guys? Ice wines, like
wine of all type, but certainly, especially when you start heading towards Niagara. That's where all our wineries are. Ooh. And Canada apparently is very well known for wine. We have tons and tons and tons of it here. That likely is distributed globally. You'll see wineries on your way.
Oh, wow.
Down here, down where we are, we have a distillery that does vodka, potato vodka.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we also have a winery that's heading towards the PEI, the Confederation Bridge.
Yeah.
We have a winery along there as well that has an amazing wine and everything like that. We also have something here called blueberry wine.
Yes, I've heard of blueberry wine.
And it's very tasty. It's very tasty.
Is it?
Oh,
we've got
it's very tasty.
Is it? Oh, I've got to try it. We'll have to have cocktails.
But I've tried the ice wine, and oh my god, it is something else. I will admit that it's definitely good.
You love it, and Canada, an ice wine. Like, I can't remember the brand that Jeffrey brought over, but it was like a little tiny bottle, about sort of quite narrow but long, and we had, I don't know, a glass and a half each, and it was just like, it was very refreshing wine, ice wine. It literally did feel like it was ice cold, even though it was just, I think, room temperature when we drank it. So
wow.
It was nice, yeah.
One of the activities that people do, which I have not done, is go wine tasting. And so what you might do is hop on a limo or a bus and you go from winery to winery and try all the different... So that might be an idea. Kristen knows more about that than I do, because like I said, I haven't done it. But she, obviously living in Niagara Falls, she's been there her whole adult life. So, when I have to ask, she's the one who has to let me know how things are over there. I'm still learning.
Yes. Wine tasting is very... Wine tasting is, yes, I know. Wine tasting is very popular in Australia as well. And the Barossa Valley, as Pete was mentioned in the chat, we have some internationally acclaimed wines from there. So it'll be interesting to see how they do compare to the wines in Canada. I've been to New York a few times, and like you go into the bottle shops, you actually see an Australian section, an Australian collection of wines. Sorry, keep going. What you going to say?
What was I going to say? I had something in mind. No, it's gone.
We'll have to make sure you get some of the Canadian treats that we talk about here. That come up in every conversation. So, like ketchup flavored potato chips. I don't know if you have those.
Oh yes, we've had those. They come out as special edition.
Crisp chocolate bars, as far as I
understand. And hickory sticks. Hickory sticks I've heard about.
And Smarties.
Yeah.
You gotta give them the Smarties too.
Yeah, Smarties. All the Nestle stuff, right?
Yes, we get Smarties. We've got Smarties. They might taste different over there than they do here.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
Butter tarts. I'm a real tart.
Buttertart. There you go.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, I didn't think about that. Yes.
I'm a bit of a
They-
tart.
Obviously, you gotta try the maple candies too. The maple
Yeah.
sugar.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
one of the
right.
things you'll experience when you're in Niagara Falls specifically
Yeah.
is definitely you'll head to the touristy area, and it's very condensed. People
Yeah.
often refer to it as a mini Las Vegas,
Right.
but there's so many shops there that you can buy all the Canadian stuff, and they
Yeah.
got everything from Canadian maple fudge to cookies to syrup to things I'm probably not even remembering to mention. So you'll have all of that. You won't have a choice but to see tons of that. We've got enormous gift shops in
Wow.
Niagara Falls.
Do you know one thing I really want to get is a Roots Canada jacket.
There you
like,
go. Yes.
all over.
There you go.
Yes.
That's got like the little the beaver on it, I think. And it's like red
Yep.
and white. I want to get the red and white one, even though it's the girls' one. I don't care.
That's authentic Canadian for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We must bring home a Canada jacket,
I think so.
like a varsity
Yeah.
jacket type thing. Yeah. Oh, how wonderful! You see, there we go. We went from having no plans to having Wonderland wine tasting, the markets, the
Exactly.
the restaurant Wonderland,
Yeah.
the restaurant thingy. Yeah. Tell us about the droning laws. I don't know if you people drone in Canada.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
We gotta learn about these. I have to admit that I'm not well versed.
Yeah.
One of the things that has to be considered, though, especially, is the fact that, let's say Niagara Falls, just because I know you happen to be expecting to spend time there, is it's right on the border. You will be looking at the United States while you're standing there, so the
Yeah.
laws could be very severe
Yeah.
Okay.
or
Yeah.
restrict. So we have to look at that. I can try to help with that a little bit. I haven't done enough drone filming yet. Kristen
Yeah.
bought me a drone, and I took it out on a day that was windy, and I didn't understand why it was so. I couldn't drive the thing. I couldn't fly the thing properly. So I
Yeah.
have to give it some more tries.
Yeah.
But I do have a few friends that have done a lot more drone filming.
Yeah.
You should be able to do it. I mean, the idea is by the time the drone gets up, gets the footage you need, and comes back down,
Yeah.
how is anybody going to figure out where that
So we
was,
shouldn't
right?
have a
Exactly.
with like Niagara Falls to do a little bit of draining, or is that a bit iffy? Maybe.
I've seen small ones there, but again, I don't know the law, and I
Yeah.
don't know how enforced it is either.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's an
True.
idea, but I can't imagine that having it and grabbing a little bit of something isn't going to be a problem. It's just if you tried to fly a drone from Canada to the United States, that might
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Yes.
that
Yes.
might be something to
Yeah.
avoid, right?
Okay, so this is what I know about, like, because I've got a DJI Mini 3 Pro Solar's burner, and we know that we don't need to register it in the US because it's under 250 grams.
Whereas
Yeah, I think we have the same.
Sorry?
I had to do
I think our rule is this. Pardon me. I think our rule is the same about the weight and size.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I do know that when we do fly, if we're in a no-fly zone, the DJI will not move. It won't move. It'll let you. This is a no-fly zone, or you can get a restricted license that you can be up in the air in that area for about 5 or 10 minutes, and after that you have to take it down. So,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it will happen in the US and Canada when we're there, that it will let us know where we can and where we can't fly, and if we can't fly, that we, that it'll be the same there.
I know, Heather, for me, I've done my United States drone pilots like quiz thing, and I might have a look at doing the one for Canada too, because my drone is over 250 grams. So yeah, it's at Mavic Air 2, and I just don't know whether they're. And I did read that Canada has rules that says you can't fly in light bad for Jasper. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, I don't know.
All those laws are so young now, and the rules, right? When more and more people have them, and people start getting into the fight of, well, why do you sell it to me if I can't use it, kind of thing. I think things will change, but that's just an opinion. I may not be right about that at all. But
Yeah.
we'll see. It's still evolving no matter what.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hello, Paul. Just hello to everyone who's recently come in. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
say hello to you in the chat as it goes. It's hard to get a word in edgewise.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, dearie me.
Oh, and Drew, when you're here, you should have your friends bring you down to the Nova Scotia border because it's not that far from Moncton.
Yeah.
Or from us
Oh.
either. We need to get you a picture in front of the Nova Scotia sign.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
It is something that tourists do all the time when they come here. You got it. It's a beautiful sign. I'll see if I can look it up. It's a
and you know
beautiful sign when you're
why?
going into Nova Scotia. It's the visitor center is awesome, but you got to get a picture of you in front of the sign. Let's see if I can find the sign.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh,
And when you
yes.
do cross like your provinces, is there like any like passport checks, or is it just like Australia? You just drive into Victoria, drive to New South
Just
Wales.
drive.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just
Yeah,
drive where you're good.
yeah, awesome.
Well, what's a Tim's
I go
Horton?
into Amherst all the time. We do most of our shopping there. Our in-laws, my in-laws live in Amherst, just across the border. So let's see if I can find this.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Mike and Rihanna's Adventures is asking if you plan to try Tim Hortons.
Yes.
I'd have to say it's going to be impossible for you not to.
Yeah, right.
What's a
There
Tim
has been a
Hortons?
moment-
Let's have a look.
So Tim Hortons for us is like Dunkin' Donuts to the United States.
All right. Yeah.
Staple coffee and donuts type of franchise, but they've just exploded,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that is a
I love
beautiful
it.
sign. Wow.
Oh, I love it, Tiffany. That's cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going into Amherst. That Amherst is the border town, and that's going in, and a lot of people get pictures with it. So we have to get you in front of that sign and get some pictures.
And I love lighthouses too. So yeah.
Oh, you love it out here. We've got them everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
yes.
you've got the Bay of Fundy, which has the highest tides in the world, or highest change of tides, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the video that I dropped about with the fort for Fort Bow,
Yes.
I do show you can see some of the Bay of Fundy. If you come down this way, Drew, you guys can go maybe check out the fort yourself and get your own bit footage. But you can see the Bay of Fundy from that hill, and it's like amazing, especially when the tide is in. You swear like, wow, it's the whole ocean is in front of you.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful and
That's
everything.
incredible.
So
Yeah. Nature.
Yes.
Nature.
Oh, Tim
Yeah.
Hortons is in the United States as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tiny Tim's Donuts as well, Kristen said.
Oh,
Tiny
okay.
Tim's
Oh,
Donuts.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
is that a Canadian thing? It must be, right? It's just a small thing that we usually have at things like our Canadian National Exhibition is a huge festival ish type thing that goes on. And a lot of the touristy places like Canada's Wonderland, I didn't realize they had them, and we ran into them a couple years ago. It's a special kind of tiny little donut. They sell you a bag of them at a time, but they have the whole machine and, forgive me, I don't know how to describe the equipment, right inside a window so you can watch how they're made. You
Yeah,
see the
cool.
process of these things right in front of you.
Nice.
I think that's what makes it
That's
so
fun. That's fun.
appealing. And then they've got a couple of different flavors. They shake these things up with some flavored powder, but those are, dare I say the word addictive.
Yeah,
They sell at least 4 pounds at a time or something like that, right?
Well,
they are the St. Jacobs Farmers Market that I was telling you about. They have it too in their food court.
Right.
And you see it. It's you see the dough squirt onto this conveyor belt. It goes into the oil, then it flips, and on the other side of the oil, then it comes out on a conveyor belt.
Mm-hmm.
So the oil drips off, and then it goes into the bag, and they shake it with like powdered sugar or cinnamon sugar, and you eat them right there, and they're nice and warm. And oh my god, they're very addictive.
Yes, I can tell you now that I am going to be starving myself for the next 2 weeks so that I can come to the US and Canada and stuff myself stupid.
You're gonna be like Cookie Monster. My pajamas.
Oh,
That's true. I don't know. Mike and Rihanna's Adventures is asking about Krispy Kreme donuts, too.
oh.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
get
know
one
what
here. Yep.
You've got that there? Yeah.
Yes, we
so
do.
They're around here. They used to have an abundant number of them, and they've really dropped off, but the ones that are surviving are still there.
Yeah.
But and then funnel cakes, is that something in Australia? Funnel cakes? Do you know what I'm talking about? As a treat?
No.
I don't think so.
Kristen will
Yeah.
introduce you to that. It's an interesting type of dessert. And I don't know how to describe it because I've only had it once, if you can believe it. But
Yeah.
it's a pastry that is done in almost like a very thick spaghetti type of way. And they drizzle it all over the place. And then they cover it with ice cream and all kinds of syrups and
Wow.
things. Yeah, something like this. But it's another treat. Then I don't think it's. I don't know if it's Canadian or if it might be North American. Maybe everybody in the chat can let us know. I'm talking about. I'll type it in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funnel cakes, I would describe them as like almost like a donut consistency is what I would say. Like that's almost like what the pastry tastes like, is like a donut pastry
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
thing.
It's worth looking up a picture of it when you have a moment, just to see what on earth we're talking about.
Yes.
But it's another delicious indulgence, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
wow.
Yeah.
I think we have elephant's ears, but I think we call it something else. Mike and Rihanna's
That's elephant's
Adventures.
Funnel cake.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. Funnel cake, it looks a bit. I reckon I've seen a funnel cake come into my work, not my current work, but one of my old workplaces. We had a girl from Manitoba, I think, that worked there, and I'm sure she brought it in, and it went down really well. it was a quick eater, so yeah. She was from Manitoba. Yeah.
I noticed we're not recommending you eat any celery, carrots, broccoli, like.
Oh, that's the question that I had.
no.
Here we go. There's one thing I do want to try, and Jeffrey said he's going to try and make this for me, and I want to know what you think, because I don't know if that tastes real good or not. But he said that like your little ferns, like your plant ferns, when they grow, they have like little spinny round things at the end, and he reckons it's like
Fiddleheads.
yes, that's it. That's the word. I couldn't think of it. And he said that they're quite a delicacy. Is that they're pretty good. Yeah. I'm gonna try them, but hopefully. He reckons in summer it's not really their season when we're coming, so I'm not sure, but yeah.
Well, that's just it. Is fiddleheads are usually at the beginning of the grow season, and it's a very short window of time that you can get them. Like that's why they're so popular. It's a very short period of time.
Yeah.
But they are. I never had one until I was out here, and they are pretty good.
Yeah,
They're
no.
not bad.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's good. Do you guys get many elks around as well?
Elks?
Not here. We get deer. Lots of deer.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that'd be cute. A lot of Bambis.
Yes. I wake up in the morning, and if I'm not careful, there's Bambis all in the back of the house.
Wow.
Oh,
Right
wow.
in the field, there's like they're all over the place during and they're big, they're small, they're babies. We get deer all the time in the morning. The dog has gotten so used to them that she just kind of glances over, okay, and then goes on her way.
Oh, that's awesome. Amazing. I kind of wish that I am going up, the country way to see some trees and some animals and stuff, but won't have enough time. What I'd really like to see though, now my very first introduction to Canada. Would you like to have a guess? Hazard a guess at what my first introduction to Canada was as a early teener.
I'm afraid to guess. It's got to be something on television.
I'm going to say
Yeah.
experience, Heather.
Anne of Green Gables, of course.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yes. Yeah. And I've always wanted to see, the Princess Edward Island and, Nova Scotia and all the other, I can't remember them now. I was going to say all the other towns because I just can't remember them. All those places mentioned in the Anne of Green Gables movie and the books, of course, Avonlea.
I reckon the best Canadian state to try and say quickly is Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
It's like Saskatchewan, I think.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but that's like far up north, isn't it? Prince Edward Island.
They're way out east. They're actually closer
east?
to Tiffany. Tiffany
okay.
lives in an area, and forgive me because I haven't been out there. But where some of the provinces are together, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, all within reach of each other. Whereas when you come over to where Ontario is, it is far distant to get from one province to another. To try to go from, Manitoba, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Quebec, they're all very wide provinces, if that makes any sense. It takes hours and hours and hours.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I am going out to Prince Edward Island with Jeffrey. He sent me a postcard last year.
Okay.
Oh, you prick.
I have
How dare you?
Okay, here we go. Ready, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
Oops.
Cool.
Hang on. I hit by accident. Hang on. Okay, so you see there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the green section is New Brunswick.
Yeah.
The blue section is Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And the little red section that you see there is Prince Edward Island.
Hang on, I'm just going to put your full screen. Oh, no, I can't.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then Newfoundland is up there too, up this way. You just can't see it on the map. It's up in the corner up here.
Up there, yeah. And Newfoundland is where, like, they have the big ice, like, crevasses and
icebergs,
stuff like that. Yeah. Cool.
Oh,
Wow.
damn.
So that's here's a better picture actually. You can see.
Oops.
There. You can actually see Newfoundland in there.
Oh, yep. Cool.
So
Wow.
it's off to the side over here.
So they're literally an island, yeah. That's really
Well, yeah, Newfoundland is the island. Labrador is still attached to Canada.
right.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. And I'm guessing the colder it gets.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that little tiny island you see right there, that's Prince Edward Island. It's so small.
Yeah.
So-
Green Gables, Heather. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Hi, Anne.
Yeah.
So what? So the red's the land, and the rest is ocean.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just it is. Yeah, we have. That's the Atlantic Ocean. Like to get to Newfoundland, you have to take a ferry.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And to get to
wow.
PEI, you can take a ferry, but they also have the Confederacy Bridge, so you can take that too.
Oh, oh, okay.
Drew is showing. I mean, that's a long bridge. I took it. I've only been over to PEI once.
Yeah.
I don't do hikes very well, and I hated the bridge. I'd have to do it again via the ferry because no.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
I am not good with the bridge. That was not good.
No.
Thank you. See you next time.
Too long, but I'll try. Oops. And that's something. That's a little lighthouse? I don't know where.
Yes, that's the lighthouse. Actually, just before you go across the bridge in Cape Horn. I never remember how to say it. There is actually a rest area you go off to, and there's a walking path. Yeah. And you can see the beach and you can see PEI and all the ocean, but there's a lighthouse there that you can actually go to and visit and look up and everything. It's a big touristy stop. And lighthouses, like I said, here are, especially along the coast, are a very big thing. We have a beach here. We call it Sandy Beach. Yeah. It also has a lighthouse too and stuff. So. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Different areas. Yeah.
Yeah. He's sent me so much. Like he's always sending a postcard. So that's so cool. Yeah. What else have I got? King's Landing.
Heather, do you mind if I ask, can you remind me the dates that you're expecting to
yes. Now, do you know, I have stuffed up the dates that many times. It's not funny. Let me go to my, excuse my junior primary spelling. Google.
For sure you're going to be here right in the height of the heat of summer though, right? So I'd expect 80-degree weather as an average.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm so sick of our cold weather. Honestly, people keep telling me you're going to come in the heat. You're going to come in the... I love the heat. I love the muggy. I love it. I just love it. I will complain and bitch along with everyone else, but let's put it this way. I would much rather be hot than cold. And there's no way I'm filling a suitcase full of blasted jackets and jumpers to go on a holiday.
See, I'm completely different. I would rather be cold than hot, and I do have a reason behind that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
What's that reason? Or is that a
Well, I would
state
say that you
secret?
can be in all the way down to your birthday suit when you're hot and still sweating your butt off.
Yeah.
But if you're cold, you just add another log to the fire. You add another layer of clothing, a blanket. You can cuddle. There's always the classic friction. I mean, that one works too.
Yeah.
Keep it nice and warm. So.
Yeah.
Totally true.
Absolutely.
So
You do.
I prefer the cold.
You do have a point, but what happens if we get snowed in somewhere? I don't want to be spending
It
my
won't happen in
a week with those howler
Yeah.
I was
monkeys.
going to say that in August. No. In August, you're fine.
It's interesting here because we go to such extremes, right? Our temperatures can get literally down to beyond minus 35 Celsius, which is just ungodly cold. But then as well, it gets up into the 90s Fahrenheit. Forgive me because I don't know the conversion as well to be able to rhyme off one or the other. But it gets extremely cold to the point that there's warnings you can't be outside for more than 5 minutes or your skin will burn. And then it gets into heat warnings about the air. The difference in Canada from a lot of places is it's always humid here, or at least where we are. Where you're going to be, there's always humidity. There's no such thing as a dry heat here at all. For something to consider. But there's always places, you're going to be in places where you can just escape to air conditioning. It's everywhere. And especially when you think about some of the touristy areas, they even have cool-off areas for you in a lot of cases. So.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Florida has that too. They have little places where they just shoot water down at you and air. So I will.
The wintertime here, if you're really curious about how cold it can get, I actually have, I think it's a short on my my channel where I took a film of our front door, and you can see that we were literally frosted in. You can see the frost down the door jamb, on the door.
Yes, I think I saw that.
Vortex come through. So Kevin's right. It can get extremely cold here.
Yes.
Then we can go to the extremes with the heat, where we're up in the almost 100 Fahrenheit type weather or stuff. So it's
absolutely. I'm not interested in finding out how cold it can get. Not one little bit.
I reckon though that Banff and Jasper's going to be cold, right? Because Edmonton, they reckon, doesn't get higher than about 26 degrees in the summer.
Mike and Rihanna's Adventures would know better.
I was just going to say they're in Medicine Hat. So.
Yeah, right. Medicine Hat. They said they can get to 40 degrees Celsius in Medicine Hat, Alberta. We are known as Little Arizona. Right.
Oh.
Yeah, so just like Australia, get very warm.
Yes. So we will.
John, I agree. The brutal cold and wind is not much fun. I mean, when you have to be out there in the brutal cold temperatures, it's not fun. No. Or if you're in the middle of a snowstorm and you actually have to go, I worked through a couple of snowstorms myself when I was a security guard, and walking between the booth and where I had to go in to do my rounds, it was I'm okay, I'm walking through 6 feet of snow. It's snow drifts that are up to my waist, and that's not fun. But when you can be nice and cozy inside with your family and stuff like that, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
Better way to ride out the cold.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had something in mind.
While you're thinking, we will be there between the 24th. We're flying in on the 24th of August, and we're leaving on the 30th.
Yeah.
Flying out on the 30th.
I'll be there from the 9th till the 30th as well. So I'm a bit longer. Yeah.
So Drew, you're going back and forth to a few different places, right?
Yep. Edmonton, then over to New Brunswick, then down to Toronto and Niagara. Yeah.
Will you be, and forgive me for not being sure, will you be in Toronto before Heather and Werner come?
I think we're going to meet there, aren't we, Heather?
I think we're arriving in Toronto about the same time, because I've booked the hotel room for 3 people. Yeah, so you better be there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. It's going to be very good to be able to meet up with all of you and be able to kind of see all the different things that you're going to do. It's really interesting, thinking about this from a visitor's perspective. because I haven't had a conversation like this ever, right? And Tiffany obviously able to contribute so much, like about Canadian ideas that I wouldn't otherwise know, because I haven't left the province, right, very often. I've been to Montreal and Quebec City, but that's it. In Canada, you know, so it's great to have more idea about what to expect, right? More perspective. But it's going to be really cool to have you here, and I know you're going to have an exciting time. There's so much to do. You're not going to have a free moment if you don't want it.
Yes, I'm sure we will. We'll have to make sure Drew's up early so he can get up and out early and go to bed late. And I hope there's a club or two we can go dancing or karaoke. That would be lovely.
Well, Jeffrey's in New Brunswick.
All kinds of stuff.
There's a gay club there, I think he said. So, because he's gay. So he won't mind me saying, I don't think. So,
Yes. Well, anyway, it is now 11:30. We've been on the chat for an hour and a half. I don't know if I want to stop or keep going. How's everyone feeling?
Good. Should we take a 5-minute breather and get a drink?
Drew wants a smoke.
Cigarette. I'm naughty. Do you know, one thing I've heard that's really cool about the US and Canada, and this is going to sound really bad, but Heather will agree, is that smokes are cheaper over there. We pay about 50 Australian dollars for our cigarettes.
Yes. And that's a packet of 25.
Yes.
Yes, the government are trying to tax us into giving up.
Yeah. So that's a 25 pack, $50.
I wish I could say, but I've been smoke free for 3 years, and hubby does the vaping,
congratulations.
So yeah. Well done. Yeah. I don't know. All right.
I know that back in the day, back when we did smoke this, I'm going back, like I said, 3 years or whatever, it was starting to get ridiculous for a 25 pack, but I can't speak for what it is now, because again, I don't anymore, and hubby is he does the vaping, so we do the vape juice for him. So and even at that, for 130 mils for his vape juice, it's pretty pricey. So there you go, Heather. She got her vapor.
Yeah, I've got my vapor.
It is pre-planned. Yeah, cool.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna drop for 5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Not a problem.
Right,
Enjoy.
Yes, go and enjoy.
Yes. So now you'll have to remind me, where are you from again, Tiffany?
I'm originally from Ontario. I was born and raised in a town called Kitchener-Waterloo. So that's where I was born and raised. And my hubby is from the Guelph area, like Guelph. He grew up in Guelph and Palmerston, another little town there, and everything like that. Mm-hmm. His mother is originally from Nova Scotia, and his dad is actually originally from BC, I think it is, and such. But when they moved back here, going on 14, 15 years ago now, I can't remember specifically, I'd have to ask them. So they moved back here, and Chris came and visited here back in 2001 with his 2002, I can't remember, with his first wife, and he fell in love with it. But I grew up in Kitchener, and then about 11 years ago, we decided we needed a change. We didn't want to be in Kitchener anymore. And his parents had a house, so we said, if you hold on to the house and don't sell it, because they had 2 different houses, and we're like, if you don't sell the house, we'll come out. We'll move out here. Mm-hmm. So we decided to move out here, and I did it on blind faith. I had never been out. I had never been past either way. I would, like Kevin, I'd stayed in Ontario my entire life. I had left, except for I went to places like Detroit, because it was right across from Windsor, where most of my family is from. But I had never been out here, so I moved on blind faith. And so we decided in January of 2012 to move here. And then a couple weeks later, we found out we were expecting Alex.
Oh, nice.
So he's my true maritimer, because he was born out here and everything. But yeah, at 15 weeks pregnant, I was moving in a moving van, and oh no, never again. It was not fun. But yeah, no, I'm from Kitchener, and the area, so.
Wow, wow. Do you find that, I don't know if you can answer this question, like Australia, you know, we're so big, you go from state to state, there's a huge culture difference, even though, you know, it's the one country, you go from one city to another, and there is a difference between cultures. Do you find that in Canada as well? From one city to another, from one province to another?
Not really.
No?
I think the differences might be a lot more minor.
Yeah, a
But
little subtle.
that's only in my experience so far.
Yeah.
And like I said, I haven't been far enough away. But Tiffany, like that's a distance to go from Ontario, especially where like there's so much activity happening, and you know, Toronto being a world class city, Montreal and a few others that are like closer, and then moving out to an area that I'm assuming is a little bit less known.
Yeah.
It's interesting to know, but Tiffany would be able to have a better answer. Myself personally, I don't see a lot of cultural difference, only in the idea of like accents and things like that. We eat the same food, we drink the same stuff, we give each other the head nod. Hey, we're all Canadian, you know, and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be a lot of difference. But that's just an opinion, you know. You go into a touristy area or let somebody know that you're from a few hours away, and you're treated differently, right? Oh, welcome to our city, welcome to our area. You know, I've been to Ottawa a few times now, and everybody's salt of the earth people, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
You know, my short amounts of time in Quebec or Montreal have been the same, but that's as far as I've gone, right? When we meet friends online, even for, you know, fellow Canadians, we're all like, it's the same head nod, the same, like we talk the same stories, wear the same clothes, eat the same food. So it doesn't seem to have that difference. Whereas when I've been in the States, I do see cultural differences from east to Midwest and from north to a little farther south and things like that. But I don't know how much of that is true and how much of that is for the limited amount of time that you're able to spend, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Some of it in our heads too, right? From TV and movies.
I did notice a little bit, like coming from Ontario, going into Quebec, it was different being greeted in solely French, and then when they realize you're English, they're like, "Oh, sorry," they switch over to English, and then when you come over into New Brunswick, you get both. You get the English and then repeated in French.
Wow.
So you know, those slight little things like that, I did notice as we came out east and everything like that. Now, to answer Drew's question here in the chat, he's talking about the northern provinces. Technically, those are not provinces; those are territories.
Oh, no.
Canada has the provinces and then the territories. So they, I've heard, like with Nunavut and Yukon and all that sort of stuff, it's a lot like Alaska. If anybody, you know,
yes.
So yeah, it's a little bit definitely different up there. And stuff like that. Like I haven't actually been myself. I've only known a couple of people who have been from that area. But as far as I know, it's kind of like if you were to go to Alaska, you know, lots of remote cities and definitely different culture up there as well. A lot of Native and stuff like that, I believe, is also up in those territories as well. So, and obviously very cold and icy.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I don't know.
But I've never actually been myself. Like, I don't know very much about the territories, honestly. Myself, I can say that I can be very honest. I don't know very much about them. So
no, that's fair enough.
From what I know of them, it's like if you were to go to Alaska and such. If you've seen Alaska type stuff, well, because they're up there with Alaska, so.
Yes, absolutely. Well, look, I know what it's like because people say, "Oh, what can we do in Adelaide? Oh, you must go to Kangaroo Island, you know, or something like that." And it's like, I've been once when I was a kid for school camp, you know. I've never been there outside of that. And I tell people how wonderful Kangaroo Island is, for example. I've never done it, but I've heard that people say it's wonderful. So when I have people, and I have had people here like from interstate and overseas, and I have entertained them, and I actually do more with visitors from other areas than I do when I'm here by myself, than like years of living here. you know, all my life. You know, I can pack so much in a week, but my daily life, I barely get out the house. which is quite embarrassing actually, but never mind, you get that. So yeah, oh fantastic. I'm so excited. I must do some more research. We've got 2 weeks before we leave. Drew's back. Welcome back, Drew. And yeah, so hopefully, yeah. Oh, I think Werner's gone to bed actually. He came out earlier.
Oh, really? We put him to sleep.
He's working tomorrow, so he'll be up at 6.
Oh, dear.
And it is 11:42 p.m. now, so he'd be well and truly asleep by now.
Yeah, I had one last question, if that's all right, Heather. Have either of you, I did ask this in the chat as well, have either of you done a sweat lodge or anything like Native, Canadian or First Nations kind of experience? Because I'd like to do it, and Jeffrey said about doing it, but I'm just not sure how and what it's like, or if you've had experiences with First Nations Canadians as well.
Personally, I've not, other than a couple of conversations, but not experiences. They teach us what they do in our grade school curriculums growing up, and we get to learn a lot, but it's a lot of fundamental. And but I haven't done any personal experiences of what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, cool.
I haven't tried any of like the sweat lodges or anything like that, but where we are in New Brunswick, just outside Sackville and everything, we're in the Micmac territory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had you know, the native dancing and that sort of stuff. We've got Indian the Indian bread, the Indian tacos, like very, very interesting on their fluff bread and everything like that, their bread and fried bread. But so we've had like I said, like the powwows and stuff like that, and we learned about, the kids learned about at Christmas time the different Micmac that sort of stuff for what they do with their, you know, and so we learned in turn. So we've had that kind of experience with it, and like I said, we've seen the dances and the beadwork and all that sort of stuff, but never like a sweat lodge or anything like that. So
wow. That's cool. Yeah, it's something I'd like to do. So I'm hoping this Heather definitely might try and get me into the
Can you, Drew, just moving close to your microphone?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you move away, it echoes, but the closer you are, the less it echoes.
I'm hoping that I can do a sweat lodge. Give it a go.
Get a little bit of, I suggest, you know, trying to get like yourself a little bit used to it. I know you're used to Australian weather, but like go into like a sauna. From my understanding, that's what it's like. Is it's really like a sauna and everything like that, with like the smoke and all the traditional stuff like that. I try to prepare yourself by, you know, experiencing a couple of saunas and stuff like that before you actually go into it, so you don't like pass out.
Yes, well, we have Queensland to prepare us for that. Fluff knows all about that. The north of Australia gets very, very humid. In actual fact, a lot of people in Darwin especially tend to commit suicide as a result of the humid. When they call it the silly season, and they get the monsoons. That's what where going Troppo comes from. The monsoons. You go Troppo and commit suicide.
I met a lady Heather in Townsville when I was there, and she was a pretty unwell individual, right? Let's just put it that way. You know, mental health wise, I could tell. But I just talked to her, and she said that like the build-up of the tropical heat had sent her Troppo, which I wondered what it meant at first, and then I was like, what does this mean? And she's like, no, it means that, like, you know, people do, like you say, that try to, because they just can't handle the intensity of humidity.
Yes, Drew, you're echoing. Just move closer to the microphone.
I'm as close as I can get. I can't get any closer.
Something's happened since you've left.
Okay, hang on. What if I do I don't know. My connection says it's good, so I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Okay, maybe you're not setting or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, Drew's always having issues with his voice.
Yeah. I haven't got a great setup here really for live streams. I just have a small little desk.
This is the first time I've seen the collab cam setup though, like from OBS. This is the first panel I've been on where we're using this system. Yeah. So it's interesting how all these different things are evolving as well. They all just take every idea from each other, add them. So, you know, next year things will be easier and better than they are today, as they always are. But this is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, yes. What do you think of it? Because, you know, it's had its issues. You know, it's new to me, this setup. So what are your thoughts on the setup? Just while I've got you all here.
It doesn't seem to have as many options, right? Like, so for instance, my green screen, I just assumed, oh, we're going to be able to like pop a green screen picture behind here because all the other services have that available. Yeah, I don't know if it's here, but I couldn't find it if it was, because I happen to be at work. I'm not at home today, so otherwise I might have thought about moving to another area, but it didn't dawn on me like that this might not work because, like I said, this is our first time. So you get this beautiful wrinkled green screen every day.
Oh, well, never mind.
I just took a look at it and I didn't see any settings for green screen either. So I literally, that's what I was doing was you got a close up of me as I'm looking at my camera.
Yes. I'm not sure.
They'll add it, you know, because it's going to be an incredibly requested feature after, I don't know how many people are probably doing this, right? And then they'll have it eventually.
Yes, there's probably a special OBS because OBS doesn't actually allow for multi-cam or having panelists, so you actually have to use a third party app. Now the options are
I thought you were using the collab cam system that OBS is supposed to have had, but I could be mistaken. Maybe that's Streamlabs, because Streamlabs came off of OBS. They do their own thing.
Yes,
so
yes.
It's interesting. I wondered by the domain that you've got there, video.ninja. It's a different thing, right?
Yeah, this is completely different. Now, OBS, I've done extensive research to get guests up on my live stream, and the only three options you've got is StreamYards, Melon, and this Ninja. Oh yeah, you do have the option of what's that, Skype as well.
Oh yeah, Skype.
But yes, but Ninja's the best because if you use, there was a reason why we couldn't use the others. But this was the best option out of the bad lot, literally, if that makes sense. But I didn't.
Better now, or not really?
No, it's still pretty much the same, Drew. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had to draw Streamlabs in three. You had to draw Streamlabs in three different on three different sort of things, and it's like, nah, too much of a pain in the ass. So.
I'll try and reconnect.
Yes, but yeah, so I mean, it's okay. I'm learning. There's probably another application you can use.
Is that better now? I've just reconnected.
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. Just seems to get stuck for some reason at times. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, my lovelies, I might finish the live stream there. It seems like we've come to a natural close. I want to thank Kevin and Tiffany for joining me.
Thank you.
So much for giving up your time to saying hello.
Thanks for having us.
Their links have been dropped.
Yes.
Their links have been dropped. You spend the last few minutes to go and connect to Tuba Chat and Canadian Family Life now while you've got the chance. And go and check out their channels. I'm sure they'll do the same for you. I am so looking forward to meeting you and Kristen, Kevin. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to meet Tiffany.
I think I will.
You might, yeah.
I was going to say Drew might.
Drew might, yeah. I'm jealous, the bastard.
He's going to cut my screen down.
Thank you.
Well, actually, the thing is that I planned that if Drew actually can't make it down here, I've got a couple of things for you, Heather, that I'm going to give to him so he can take to you.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank
So I will have
you.
a couple of things if I can get together with Drew. He'll have a couple of things, but you're going to have some stuff too. So
Yeah.
that's an incentive for you to be here, Drew.
Yeah.
Oh, that will. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll get the big stick out and make him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
well,
think we've come to the conclusion that Canada is the nicest place in the world.
yes. So it's.
He's Australian, so there you go.
Hang on a minute. Actually, before
I
we do
definitely am
go,
a proud Canadian. I imagine Tiffany is as well. It is a wonderful place to visit. It's a beautiful place to live,
Yeah.
for sure. Like
Start
anything
a
else, we
poll.
look out at the world and want to visit every other place as well
Yeah.
to see what it's like. But
Yeah.
Canada's home. I'm not dying to leave or anything like that.
Nah, cool. Yeah. It's awesome.
are the nicest people in the world. We'll just do a quick
Yeah.
survey
Yep.
in the last few minutes.
Here we go.
We're going to do a consensus here. Oh, I hope
I'm
it works.
gonna vote yes.
It's scrolling. It's scrolling. It's scrolling. Has it come up yet?
Not yet, Heather. But it will.
Don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me.
That you love computers and technology.
Everything's been working so beautifully today.
Yeah.
And now it's not. Oh, no. I hate you, computer. I hate you, chat. I hate everyone now.
Computers I work with.
Oh, I say some dreadful things to my computer sometimes. I'm not surprised it's done this to me.
Oh.
It's just gone blank. But anyway, I was going to ask. You can always put your answer in the comments. I was going to ask. The consensus that Canada and its people are the nicest people in the world. Just type in yes, everyone, and we'll be done with it.
There you go.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm going to say good night. Thank you to everyone who's in the chat. I can't access the chat now because it's just gone mental. Unless I refresh. There we go. I've refreshed. I don't know if the thing came up. But yes. Okay, so we've got Kristen. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Scratch and Pete. Thank you, is that IN97, Mr. Nass?
Mr. Nass, yeah.
Mr. Nas, long time friend.
And I can't scroll any further. I can't.
Yeah.
Tommy is
David,
here. David, Streamlabs Nightbot,
Fluff.
Fluffy, John, D, Hunter's Locomotive, thank you so much. And to anyone else that I may have missed. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And remember, keep smiling, make the world wonder what you've been up to.
That's it. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.